call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Yes, this is third co-host Kevin O'Malley responding to something I heard in a recent episode regarding Panther City Palette, my good friend Joe Marone, and his judo throw that he mentioned. And I would officially like to call him out live on the air to finally come join me at judo practice, which he has not done, and he continues to duck me. So, Joe, consider your challenge issued officially.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like me for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 19 of Breakfast of Champions. We're here.
Good evening.
We're 19.
19.
Where were you when you were 19?
19. I was living in Denton.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was almost done living in Denton. No, is that true? Yeah.
Don't you lie to me, boy.
No, I was living in Bedford.
Oh.
I had just moved back from Denton right before I turned 18.
I was at DBU being a bad boy.
Yeah. I was living on my own and just working full time because college was not for me. UNT
I tried it. I tried it 3 times and it just never quite stuck.
I got my associates. It took me a while. It took me like 8 years, but I got it.
Good for you.
And I think I'm finally going to get that bachelor's.
Quit
We'll
bragging.
see.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, we've last time we kind of had to cut it short. I don't know if anybody kind of realized that.
Yeah. Life has been moving fast.
I know. Whenever I was prepping for this episode, I was like, I must have missed a week of contender series because it's felt that long.
Yeah.
And I went back and put on last week's episode, and I'm like, no, I definitely saw this. So
I have not seen it yet, but we talked about that one fight.
Yeah. Well, last time we were here, just got a behind the scenes text message. Basically what happened was the big boss came by, and we do this in the shop that I work at. So we kind of had to make sure that all of our cereal and breakfast tacos and podcast microphones and all that crap was just not sitting around, and had to make the store look presentable. And since then, your journey has expanded and expounded into the world of the coffee bean.
Yeah. Started yesterday. We're on day 2. Hell yeah.
Working for the evil empire.
It's pretty tight.
It is tight, dude.
Like, I was not expecting how tight it is.
It's pretty cool. Like, it's almost like going to work for Apple or something like that. It's like everything you can think of has already been thought of, and you don't have to ever question anything. Like, it's just...
That was like my role at my last job, was trying to be the person to come up with all that stuff. Not my last job, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, Heather and I were just talking about this, and this is what she was bringing up. She's like, there's somebody else who's already done that.
Yeah.
Your job is just to show up and make sure it runs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. It's cool because, like, you don't have to come up with like concepts for anything. It just shows up to you, and they're like, this is how it should look. Here's how everything should taste.
And my interim job that I've been working late nights, that's kind of what I found out. I was like, oh, corporate America, like, yeah, it's evil, whatever, like capitalism, but I don't have to use much brain power.
Right.
I'm just showing up, making sure ducks are in a row, the machine is running, and that's it.
What's cool about people like you and I too is that if we have no, like, once we buy into that attitude and we kind of have that segmentation of like, okay, I know that I have to do this. We often excel and succeed in those environments because people often tend to think that we're going above and beyond when we're just like, no, we just don't care that much.
Yeah. It's like, I have no like investment in this other than I show up and I get paid if I do a good job.
Yeah.
And
that's good for you after all these years, for sure. It's definitely going to be good for you and your family. And
I'm stoked. I also don't work past 5. Today was the latest I worked. We closed fast. We got on at 7:15.
Hell yeah.
So the latest I worked for like the next 3 weeks was like 5:30 maybe.
God bless America.
Because I was working till 2 or 3 a.m. So having a normal schedule is fucking sick. Got back in the gym this week.
Yeah.
Can't stop me now.
Man. I know. I love it. Whenever
Excuse me.
Parker and I, I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but Parker and I have this app on our phone called Locket. And I only have 5 people that I share my Locket with.
I got you and one other who doesn't use it.
Yeah. So if you're unfamiliar with it, it installs a widget on your home screen on your iPhone. And it's kind of like, it's the same thing as every other social media platform. You post a picture, put a caption or whatever, and you can react to it. But with the widget, the last picture that someone took always stays on your home screen. And Parker the other day posted a Locket, and it was from his first day. And I just saw that apron and all that book. And I told Allie, I was like, I'm so jealous because I just remember all of the good times that I had, like learning about things. And like you said, like once you get past all of the crap as far as like what you think, it's just really like one of the greatest things that I ever learned through my journey there was at one time, and I'm not exactly sure if this is still their corporate policy or not, but whenever I was there in one of the first employee manuals, the corporate policy of just say yes. It like doesn't matter what the customer is asking for. It literally doesn't matter. Like the whole concept of like who is wrong and who is right is thrown out the window whenever you have a corporation that's willing to accommodate anything that comes through that door by just saying yes. If you know for a fact that you made that drink the right way, it's nothing for them to just throw it away and make it again and make that customer happy.
My first 2 days,
dude, that has changed my customer service policy because it's not we're on the same team. So like, I want you to be happy with your transaction and not having to worry about I use too many cups or I use, you know what I mean? Or I'm going to miss out on $7 because this person's drink's super crazy or whatever.
It's
but like making their day.
Like that is nothing, especially if you think, oh, this person's been coming here for 5 years. We're going to continue to come here for 10 years down the road. Hey, that $7, that's a drop in the pan, considering if they do not come here every day for the next 10 years.
Yeah. And it's easy to write off the corporate chain whenever they piss you off. You know, it's like, I'm never going back there again. I'll just go to the other one down the street or whatever. You know, it's crazy. So enough work talk. You've probably talked about. I'm just excited for you.
Oh, I'm super excited. And
that whole environment is just near and dear to my heart. Like I said, it was my first job. It was, even kind of my last job before, because I'm kind of freelance in the music thing right now. But the last, I had to clock in and show up on time before this job that I have here at Center was another coffee shop. So one thing that we've kind of talked about and alluded to is how we're coming for the Kelce Brothers spot and their lives and their notoriety and all of that good stuff. And just coincidentally, they had been talking about cereal on their podcast. I don't listen to their podcast very regularly. I catch clips on Instagram. So
I don't even know which one is which. That's how out of touch I am. I only know the name because of Taylor Swift.
Right. Most people do. So they have a podcast. It's called New Heights. They grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. They're brothers. They both played at Cincinnati, I believe. And then they both went on to play in the NFL. This is Jason Kelce.
Okay.
He is or he was the center for the Philadelphia Eagles. So when you're like, I don't even know who they are, even outside of the podcast, outside of Taylor Swift, I would have known who this was because Philadelphia Eagles are our family team. So I caught the exact day the other day on Facebook whenever I renounced the Cowboys. And so I have like a firm grasp of the fact that I've been cheering for the Eagles this is the 11th season.
Wow.
So Jason Kelce was a big part of winning the Super Bowl. He has this really amazing, I'll send it to you after this, but he has this really amazing speech after they won the Super Bowl. In Philadelphia, they have this culture called the Mummers Parade. It's during Thanksgiving or New Year's. I forget which one. Please forgive me. I didn't grow up there, but basically they have like kind of like this similar thing in New Orleans where you have like Mardi Gras and people dress up in crews, and they have like, it's social clubs, and they all dress up and they usually have a theme, and most of the time it's political. But the other thing is that they have these huge ornate, purple, green, gesture-like costumes and fully makeup and all that stuff. And they go down downtown Philadelphia. We watch it every year. It's awesome.
Do they have to grease the poles before?
Yes, they do.
Hell yeah.
So whenever they won the Super Bowl, Jason huge center lineman, full regalia, and he's standing on the steps, the Rocky steps, giving the speech, and he goes, he's like yell crying.
As you do when you win the Super Bowl.
He's like, they counted us out. Nobody told us we were going to be here. And you know what I have to say to them? Fuck them. And he starts singing the Philly chant. That year was crazy. Went crazy. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing, no one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. Cause we're Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us. We don't care. So he sang that after that speech. It was one of the most magical moments in sports. I'll send it to you later.
Hilarious.
So that's Jason. He is older. He is now retired. He is an analyst for ESPN now. This is Travis. Travis is dating Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. He also is a multiple Super Bowl winner, playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have, like I said, podcast New Heights. They've basically talked about, they ranked their top 5 cereals, and it was like one of those like, oh, their audience really got engaged. And so they brought up the fact that they like to mix up cereals. And so they came up with this mix with General Mills. It's the Kelce mix. So this is how crazy this was. I literally text my sister-in-law that lives in the Philadelphia area and in the Delaware area. I was like, hey, if you're going grocery shopping, keep your eye out for this. I don't know if it'll make it down to Texas because I figured it'd be regional Kansas City, Philadelphia type shit. And then less than 5 hours later, it was in my hand.
Hell yeah.
Allie found it at HEB. So there was like a whole end cap full of them. So
General Mills is not regional.
No, I just didn't know if like it was going to be like a, like I said, hometown kind of a thing. But looks like all of the United States is getting the Kelce mix. And I actually saw before it was in our HEB a couple of days before, I was looking at eBay. Wow. And $20 a box. And I almost was like, well, $20, that's not that bad. Yeah. And then the next day it was in like the next couple of days.
$4 a box or something.
So I'm going to take this whole thing out so we can take a look at it. But the 3 cereals in the Kelce mix are Reese's Puffs, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Lucky Charms. So right offhand, it doesn't sound like the flavors go together at all.
Nope. I mean, you could do two out of the 3 of those and it would make sense. You could do Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Lucky Charms. Yeah. You Reese's Puff and Cinnamon Toast Crunch makes sense. Lucky Charms and Reese's Puffs? Not really.
A little ASMR pouring of the cereal. So I'm a dumbass and forgot bowls. We're raw dogging it with paper towels and bare hands here.
I'm eating out of a dog food bowl.
So I bought 2 boxes, one for the pod, and I have not really, I've abstained so I can give an honest and fair review. However, Allie picked up a box for my family at the same time. And the first thing Rhodes was like, I don't like this. And then Faye really loves it. And then Allie really loves it. She's had
All right.
a few bowls of it.
Nice.
So I will say that I believe it's going to be better with milk and all mixed up.
No, it's best straight out of a dog food bowl on all fours.
So let's give this a shot. Oh God!
What happened?
Good thing I work tomorrow.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
gonna just kind of.
Yeah,
I want to get a little piece of each.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing a handful and I'm gonna pop it on in. That's what she said.
Oh. Okay, I think I got a little bit of everything.
A little dead air for you. I actually love that.
It's better than I expected.
Is it me or does it look like these cinnamon toast crunch pieces are extra blasted?
Extra blasted.
Dude, I've not seen cinnamon toast crunch this blasted since the late 90s, probably.
I think I've never seen it that blasted.
So for me, the flavors work really well together. Peanut butter and cinnamon, and then the marshmallows add just more of a sweetness and a texture to it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Lucky Charms pieces are just kind of oaty, so they don't have much of a flavor to contribute. But I think that works really well together. Whenever Rhodes was a kid, he's still a kid. Whenever Rhodes was younger, he really loved peanut butter, honey, cinnamon on a tortilla roll up. Still, from time to time, he'll still have that. But peanut butter and cinnamon actually work really well together. And I remember, I forget what it was we were talking about. Adding it to pancake mix.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of peanut butter and a little bit of cinnamon to the pancake mix, or pumpkin spice seasoning. If you're into duding up your pancakes or waffles a little bit more, throw in a little pinch of cinnamon or maybe a scoop of peanut butter and just kind of blow your own mind. This is really good. I enjoy this. I really want to try it with milk so I could get the full experience. Ben & Jerry's also recently released a flavor called Marshmallow Sky. And this kind of reminds me of that. It has a little bit of like that marshmallowy kind of flavor to it, but with some other flavors mixed in. 0 to 6 Kelce's.
I'll give it. It's not fair, but I'm gonna give it 4.5 just because this isn't the full experience. I'm sure with milk, it'd probably be a solid 5. It's better than I expected.
I didn't expect the flavors to work well together. I thought they were going to clash more than they do.
Especially the peanut butter and chocolate.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it 5.5. I think that I can envision the milk flavor with it. And I think that it's probably going to be one of my favorite cereals. In fact, I'm probably going to experiment with making some mixes of my own.
Oh, have you never done that?
I have, but I was thinking about maybe...
Breakfast of Champs mix.
That's what I was thinking. You might have to make a crazy zany mix of our own.
I had it. I just lost it. It was. Oh, damn it.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah, I'll write it down.
We also I did snag a box of that new Monster Mix marshmallow mix. If you're familiar with like Count Chocula or Blueberry or any of those flavors that come around this time of year more prominently, this year they did release one that is all of them together in some new marshmallow shapes. So I figured since we're on the cutting edge of all things cereal and breakfast that we probably would have to get a box of that as well. So I did get a box of that. We're going to probably try that a little bit closer to the Halloween holiday.
What's your favorite of like Count Chocula, Blueberry, Frankenberry, and then there's a new one?
I think it's Frankenberry.
Okay.
I think it's Frankenberry because it reminds me of like Oops All Berries.
Okay.
And I'm a huge fan of the Oops All Berries.
Well, they released an apple one last year.
I did see that, yeah.
I got like a 3-pack of those.
Like a sampler?
Yeah. It was not my favorite. I was expecting it to be more like Apple Jacks, and it was not. If they would have made it more like Apple Jacks with marshmallows, would have been dope. That's not what it was.
Also, since we were talking fallish treats, the thing that Allie has been jamming on is a salted caramel apple cold brew from the Dutch Brothers. I know that's your...
No, I love Dutch Brothers.
Those are your ops, but they have a cool little caramel situation going on over there, caramel apple situation going on over there. I'm sure that's available year round. It's just one of those things where it's like more suggestive towards the fall times.
There's also the Lonnie New Witch's Brew, which is a caramel apple.
I saw a hilarious TikTok of that. Basically, it was like one of those fit girly influencers that had driven an hour to her nearest Costco because she saw that they were in stock, and they were up on a riser, and the manager was giving her a hard time about the fact that she didn't want to get them down. And she's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I drove an hour here, so you better get somebody. So they had to like do that whole thing at Costco where they like basically crime scene the aisle out with like yellow tape. And so it was like this huge ordeal, but you know, people really freaking love that Witch's Brew, and they'll go to great lengths to drive to get it or order it online or get somebody to send it to them.
I didn't know it existed. I was just like in the store buying groceries, and there it is. I was like, oh, I bet it tastes like caramel apple. That could be good. It could be gross. I'll try it. It was actually pretty good.
Pretty good. So lots of cool things going on in the breakfast and energy drink world right now. If you're a fan of cereals, get out and get you some Kelce mix or some of those Monster Marshmallow Mix and Friends type situation.
Speaking of breakfast things, my friend Proctor messaged me.
Okay.
And said that there's Cinnamon Toast Crunch flavored bacon.
Dude, 3 people have sent me that in the past couple of days.
And he said that he blamed us for it.
Phil blames us for it too. He was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, I didn't call them. I did. Hormel.
I called Hormel and I was like, look, we've got this crazed cinnamon square. It's cannibalistic.
Oh yeah, I wanted to show you. There is the crazed cannibalistic cinnamon squares on the box, along with cartoon renditions of the Kelce Brothers.
And Lucky Charms guy.
Yeah.
Where's the Reese's Puff?
I know, right? Isn't it like a bird?
I don't know.
I thought it was like a cousin to the Cocoa Puff bird.
I didn't.
Oh, no, it's not.
I don't think they even
I just
have
imagine
like
that. It's just
that'd be
the
cool.
panties of the unwrapped Reese's peanut butter cup panties.
How do you eat your Reese's cup?
I like to take them off slow. Okay, so moving right along. I wanted to get back to some of that top 5 film talk because we always have a good time cussing and discussing movies. And one thing that I was looking at, like popular action film stars. One name kept on popping up, and I realized that I had been avoiding talking about this person for the very specific fact that it was recently brought to everyone's attention that he has dementia. And so we want to celebrate his career and his movies, and just kind of talk about Bruce Willis a little bit. So if you're unfamiliar with Bruce Willis,
where have you been?
Yeah, I mean, you probably were just born.
Years.
Yeah. Probably some of the greatest films and TV shows and just appearances in different forms of media. Whenever in the later years, whenever they're making those Expendables films, it's like when you think of like, let's round up the greatest action stars of all time. And we've already discussed some of those people like Jean-Claude Van Damme and, yeah. But he's right up there with all those guys and was involved in those films. And he has kind of this cool, he's not as like muscular and more like an everyman badass, more, you know what I mean? I think that's what people really related to in Die Hard, is that the dude wasn't like jacked like Rambo, that he was like kind of balding, a little paunchy.
He looked just like a normal dude.
Yeah, but he was still able to defeat the enemy. So,
and picking 5 Bruce.
We don't have to pick 5. It's just the name of the segment. You know what I mean?
And I mean, Bruno the Kid, the animated movie, number 1. I'm kidding. God, I'm looking at his filmography right now, and it's just like how they're so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, he's done so many movies and so many good movies at that. I mean, that is subjective, I guess.
So let's talk. So I find our most interesting conversations are the ones that are not the stereotypical movies. So
yeah.
I'm going to kick it off with Looper. Have you seen Looper?
Okay. I'm a huge Rian Johnson fan. Yeah. So his first movie, Brick, when I saw that, I was like, holy fuck. That was so interesting and cool. Like, the way he kept the dialogue. It honestly, it kind of reminded me of Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. How they took a language, the way it was spoken from, not a language English, but they took it like a dialect and a way that the English was spoken from a different time period and transported it to a modern time. And that was interesting.
It was like iambic pentameter mixed with like
the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah. Or like even like the Montagues were more like a Latino gangster, almost hard hip hop-esque presentation.
Yeah.
What Lin-Manuel Miranda wishes he could be.
Yeah. But no, like seeing Looper where they take like that 50s like gumshoe detective noir and putting it in like a mid 2000s high school setting with a murder mystery that's also relatable to anyone who's like a teenager in that time period. Was super interesting. So yeah, when Looper came out, I was there, saw it in the theater. Really, really liked it. I'm also a big fan of Rian Johnson's Star Wars movie. I know that is, a hot topic. Honestly, it's my favorite of the new trilogy. It was the only interesting one. But yeah, Rian Johnson, huge fan, love Looper. Yeah.
I think that's one of those movies that in the last, I guess I would say 15 years has kind of stuck with me, like visually, totally. And also like storyline. It's interesting. I was pretty into like the concept of time travel, like maybe I would say around that same time, 15, 20 years ago, just kind of when, whenever you think you're trying to explore all that stuff or just like how you work stuff out, like, like, could you travel backwards in time if the time machine hadn't been invented? Or like, are we talking about like string theory and particle displacement? And like, are we talking about, you know what I mean? Like multi-dimensions. So like just having a nice, very cool, succinct, like, oh, they had this technology. The black market took it. There's been some sort of like, kind of mafia takeover of like time travel. And now it's like only kind of used to do like dirty work and shit like that. So I just love that the second it became popular, it instantly degraded into like the shittiest version of time travel. Like we're not going back and being like exactly the necromancer meme. It's like, instead of going back to see like grandma, we're like going back and shooting people for gold. Yeah. Like, so Looper would be my first one to throw out as far as like, I mean, obviously Die Hard, obviously, but
what's your favorite Die Hard movie? Because the first one is classic, Untouchable. Yeah. I haven't seen any like really new ones. I think I saw two of the like later like 2000s prequels, like the first one and then the second one. I haven't seen anything else. But yeah, do you have a favorite Die Hard?
Yeah, I would say probably With a Vengeance.
It's really fucking good. I saw the first Die Hard movie on cable TV and I became obsessed. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was like 7 or 8 years old. But my grandpa had Die Hard with a Vengeance on VHS. And that was the first like uncut Die Hard I saw.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, this is insane. Like, whoa. And then I was like, I don't know if that one is still good. Like my memories of it were getting hazier. I was like, seems like maybe it was problematic. I'm not sure. I started questioning it, but I also hadn't watched it because I was like, I remember it being kind of boring. I rewatched it in like the last 6 months. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's got like the right mix of action, the right mix of like, what the fuck? Like, it touches on the right subjects. And then like also Samuel L. Jackson being in it, like
seals the deal.
Yeah. And Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons is a badass too.
So the second, maybe non-conventional, maybe more of our generation, not so much our parents' generation, that I'd like to speak on is Kill Bill. Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction was great.
His whole, like, the last story arc is just such, like, I don't know. Like, to me, I found his story arc way cooler than, like, because I just never was, like, super into, like, the drug scene or, like, super into, like, you know, all of that shit. So, like, his, like, whole thing of, like, betting on himself and, like, having a tragic backstory and, like,
totally,
you know, just trying to get away with one thing one time, you know, and then somehow somebody else fucks it up for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that, man. So, yeah. If you've never seen Pulp Fiction, do you have any funny, like, Pulp Fiction stories or memories?
Not really. Like, I remember when I first heard, my parents rented it, and I remember them locking themselves in their bedroom to watch it, so that I couldn't see or hear any of it, because I was like 7 years old when it came out to rent. And they're like, they just heard it was like the most, like, controversial movie of the time and all this, and so I remember them, like, locking themselves in their room with a VCR and watching it, so I couldn't, like, intrude. But I didn't see it. I was probably like 14 when I finally saw it, and I'd seen Reservoir Dogs. I thought Pulp Fiction was really good, but I liked Reservoir Dogs more.
Oh yeah.
So, but no, like, Pulp Fiction is also one of those movies where it's like, I've seen it so many times, I've talked about it so much that it's also one of those things in my mind where it's just like overdone, even though, like, it is a cultural phenomenon. It is a classic. It is untouchable. It's just,
I think that he's underappreciated in that movie, though. A lot of people don't like.
I think we mostly hear about John Travolta and
I mean, that's the thing.
Samuel Jackson.
His career is resurrected, or just like the dialogue or the violence or whatever the case may be. But I think that, like,
how many movies has Bruce Willis done with Samuel L. Jackson?
That's a great question.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. We got Pulp Fiction.
And then the M. Night Shyamalan.
Unbreakable, which is going to be one of my picks. I love Unbreakable.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Last thing I was going to say about Pulp Fiction is just his whole, like, all of his catchphrases are things that I still say to this day, like Zed's dead, baby.
Yeah.
Or, like, just like, I know this is but too much, but when she's like, will you give me order of pleasures? I was like, will you kiss it? I love that movie. It's so good. Yes, it has been overdone, but I just wanted to highlight, let's celebrate Bruce Willis's part, because
it's been so long. So I need to go back and rewatch it because it's been a while.
Yeah. One other one you want to talk, crazy enough, I saw this, and so we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet.
Oh yeah, I have that on tape.
So our podcast obviously is called Breakfast of Champions. There is a Kurt Vonnegut book called Breakfast of Champions that they made into a film adaptation that came out in 1999 starring Bruce Willis. So we'd be remiss not to bring up Breakfast of Champions, considering there's a whole goddamn book and movie with our podcast title. So
I was thinking about the book in that moment in the walk-in while looking at the pancake batter. But yes.
And
who directed that? Because I feel like it's somebody interesting that directed Breakfast of Champions.
Let me look for you.
Let's see. Yeah, because I remember when I got the tape, I was like, wait.
Alan Rudolph.
Maybe it isn't somebody.
Another one that I think is, as far as like action is concerned, that we don't talk about enough, just to break off that Pulp Fiction, but stay in the Quentin Tarantino universe, is his small parts in both of the Grindhouse, Lieutenant Muldoon or whatever.
I need to revisit that one too, because
Death Proof is one of my favorite movies of all time.
So
straight up and down, like if you had to, if like gun to a head, like name your top 10 favorite movies, Death Proof would be in my top 10 favorite movies. And it's part of the second part of a movie.
And what's funny is, so I went to the midnight showing of that when it came out, like bought my tickets like a month in advance. I was so excited. Love Robert Rodriguez. Watched it. And I thought Planet Terror was the superior.
Mhm.
I was also like 18 or 19 when it came out. And I remember watching Death Proof like a few years later and be like, oh man, I was fucking stupid. This movie is incredible. It's probably been 10 years since I've seen either one of them, so I need to go back and rewatch
I mean,
those.
obviously the foot fetish shit in that movie is kind of over the top, but the music of the movie, the fact that it was set in and shot in and around Austin,
Yeah.
the crazy over the top, ridiculous car chase scene at the end, just a lot of everything. So, but I just thought that, again, having the Bruce Willis discussion and we're talking about Pulp Fiction already, might as well bring up the fact that he was also in Death Proof and Planet Terror. Anything else you can think of?
And there's a lot of
obviously we could spend an entire hour talking about Bruce Willis, the remake of Death Wish.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
No, I've just seen the original.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Eli Roth directed. So, I know there's a few that I saw on here.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not an action, but you can see his versatility. So one thing that kind of, like we were saying, some of the later films that he was in, obviously there was some of his decline that was kind of maybe captured. And so I think the Razzies were kind of getting onto him kind of towards the end of his career, not knowing what was happening. So
I read a book recently by Ed Zwick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think movies like he was well known for directed. Like I know he did Legend of the Falls.
Okay.
And he did, he did a bunch of stuff, but one of the movies he did was The Siege.
Mm.
And, he was talking about how like, I think it was somebody else who's supposed to play Bruce Willis's character or something. And, Bruce Willis like flew in and basically like gives a terrible performance in the film. And he was like kind of irritable, kind of like checked out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like looking back, those were all signs of like early onset dementia.
Yeah.
Like the way that he acted and presented himself. And he's like, it was like really a bummer. When he looked back at it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He did My So-Called Life. Did Shakespeare in Love.
So he also directed I Am Sam.
Yeah. He did, The Last Samurai.
Oh shit.
Yeah. His book is really good. If you're into movie stuff, his book is real good. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because he mentions it like how, like, yeah, if I would have known, like I would have. So, I guess if anybody would have known, but
if you've never seen Unbreakable, that is such a cool movie. Samuel L. Jackson has osteogenesis imperfecta, which is a brittle bone disease. That movie is near and dear to my heart because my mom has osteogenesis imperfecta. My mom has basically broken every bone in her body and still to this day has really super brittle bones and is constantly dealing with stuff like that. So to see that affliction on screen and then see that person wanting to be a superhero and it was like written kind of just for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. Very cool movies that Bruce Willis has done. Obviously, Sixth Sense, Die Hard, movies that, are talked about all the time. The Jackal, 12 Monkeys.
The Fifth Element.
Yeah, Fifth Element. I mean,
Armageddon.
come on. Yeah.
Criterion Collection version of Armageddon on DVD.
Yeah, that's a great one. That is no.
Do America?
I noticed you have braces. I have braces. So let's, you want to move on? Thank you, Bruce Willis. Appreciate you for all your work. Let's see here. So as we were walking in, Contender Series was wrapping up. I think we should probably allow you to kind of catch up a little bit before I don't want to spoil too much. There was two things I always say two things. The one that I saw tonight that was really awesome. was the last gentleman who was a heavyweight from Ukraine. He was an underdog going into the fight. I've already told you, you already know. He won tonight and had a really emotional post-fight speech, made his interpreter cry, made Laura Sanko cry, basically dedicated his fight to a former kickboxing friend and teammate who lost his life in the war in Ukraine. So while we love the UFC and all that bread and circuses, there are real things going on out there, obviously, and that's way more important than anything that we have to talk about. So blessings to him and his family. He's obviously going to get a contract, so his life's going to change tonight, and obviously that's going to better some of the lives of his family members in the Ukraine. So big ups to him. So you know us, we're big on the drama.
Oh, yeah.
And we're big on like the fun, not fighting part of fighting, I guess. And so this week, this past couple of days, because I was trying to get more information on Khalil Roundtree, because it's been kind of my mission to see if he would do like a quick call in with us, after his fight that he's got coming up in a couple of weeks. But I saw this really interesting like rabbit hole of the internet, where there's a lot of, whenever we were talking about Yuri Prohaska and Alex Pereira fighting, and he brought up the whole black magic thing and the fact that he brought up shamans, I think that was the first time that I ever put some of my interests together. Like, I am super into like conspiracy theories and like all of that stuff like that. And I'm also super into MMA. And for some reason, those two things just never like scissored each other. But
time to dock.
There's just so many things now that I just started looking into it that just really have kind of like thrown this like new avenue of like, let's talk about what these fighters are actually doing and believing in, because we kind of poked fun a little bit. And we also talked about how the fact that Alex Pereira is like a indigenous person from Brazil. So obviously shamanism is integrated into his life because that's where he's from. However, in doing a little bit of research and trying to find a little bit more about Khalil Roundtree, it's become, and this, hey, I mean, this might preclude us from ever talking to him or maybe some of these people, because maybe this isn't something that they want to have brought up. But it appears that there are several people in the UFC, and several of them that are in the upper echelons of the UFC, that are dabbling in, shall we say, occultic practices, maybe spiritual practices. So I sent you the notes.
Yeah.
You know that I sent you the notes.
You did.
I went back and I added this YouTube video strictly for the fact because I want you to look at the date that this was published.
7 hours ago.
So this was after I made the notes for this podcast.
Yeah.
This video was published. The title of this video is "The Cult That Captured Khalil Roundtree and Dominic Cruz." So I already had on these notes here Choice Life Center in Las Vegas, aka LifeSpring, because just on my cursory like dig into this Choice Life Center right here is definitely like a cousin or like a hybridization of like Scientology, mid-level marketing, leveling up.
Really?
So there are 3 fighters there are actually 4 or 5 fighters that Choice Life Center has brought into their fold, has used for marketing purposes, and has also like made themselves known via social media that they have associations. So the lady that started Choice Life Center is this lady named Robin Williams, of all names. Yeah. She, not that long ago, I would say less than a year and a half ago, posted on Instagram a picture of Khalil Roundtree and said, basically like, he is apparently level like 160 something or 150 something in this like whole like echelon of like self-help or whatever.
It's just like Freemasonry.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of like that. So this lady, Robin Williams, is she on her own Instagram page is self-described as the founder and chief vision officer for Choice Center. Choice Center they describe themselves as an emotional intelligence, life leadership, and mastery training led and coached in experiential models. Anyway, if you take a look at her Instagram and scroll down a little bit, she has posted several pictures with several people that are in the UFC and has made kind of their levels known publicly on these posts. Jeremy Stevens is one, Dominic Cruz is another, Khalil Roundtree is one, and there are a few female fighters as well. So a lot of these fighters train and live and fight out of Las Vegas, Nevada. So it wouldn't be super crazy to have the crossover of the fact that the center is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that there are several people that, go to this Choice Life Center.
Yeah.
The creepy thing, the weird thing, you have to bring people with you to progress in the levels. You have to bring 3 to 5 people with you to kind of, I guess, get higher and higher in this, this thing. So the story goes that Khalil Roundtree was training with Sean Strickland at Sean Strickland's gym. And we all know Sean Strickland, obviously, but yeah, he was training there, and there were some guys that Khalil was trying to convince to come to the Choice Life Center as part of like his recruitment. And they were telling Sean that they didn't really want to go with him. And so in the middle of training, Khalil and a couple of other people from the Choice Center pull up in cars and grab 2 or 3 of these people that they're training with, drag them out of training, and take them to the Choice Life Center.
Against their will.
Against their will.
They abducted them.
Basically so.
Okay.
They abducted, kidnapped, transported, however you want to call it.
That sounds like a lot of illegal shit.
Yeah. So I also just pulling this up real quick. If you take a look at Choice Life Center's actual website itself, you can't find very much information as far as like who's actually running it, what it's like.
It's a ghost of Robin Williams inside of a saggy lady bag.
Choice Life.
I don't know what Robin Williams looks like, so if that's offensive, I apologize. I mean,
hold on.
Obviously, calling something saggy.
It's choicecenter.com, so sorry.
Oh. I love a good cult.
Yeah, so this is definitely kind of along those lines of like, so they're elevate your life and accelerate your results. Choice Center Leadership University. It says successful people, Olympians, and athletes all have one thing in common. They desire to elevate their life and accelerate their results immediately. There are teen workshops here. And so just taking a quick look, I just clicked this link right here. This teen workshop, which is 3 days long, is $644. So they're obviously charging for something. Let's see, social media workshop. Let's see how much this costs. $99 for a virtual workshop for 2 hours. The Masters 43. I don't know what this is. $595. So they're holding these trainings for
the next discovery begins in 2 days and some hours. We should sign up.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, what if you and I went on this journey of infiltrating Choice Life Center and maybe even the Freemasons?
Let's go.
So
next, the International Order of Odd Fellows.
Yeah. So about us, frequently asked questions. Nothing there.
Elevate your life and accelerate your results.
We are a How Part creation to bring you a completed website. Stay tuned. contact us. I mean, obviously you can contact them, but there was a couple of things that like, they're just straight up about us. There's some dead links here, like about our team. Nothing. Stay tuned. So there's just been a few things that kind of were like creepy to me, as far as like you're charging people thousands of dollars to attend these leadership conferences.
Yeah.
You're asking them to bring 3 and 5 people with you, so that way you can progress in these levels. And you can't attain these levels unless you continually pay and show up and join and bring more people with you. And it's just this kind of odd, weird thing that I found out and saw. So that's kind of why that video was titled the way that it was, because it seems like there's some definite culty behavior here.
I looked it up on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that's obviously the first place I went.
Somebody says smells like Scientology. Definitely a pyramid scheme cult. Just go to therapy. Somebody else said, I think you could probably do better with an Audible membership and a bunch of self-help books. Yeah. I lost a friend to this cult pre-COVID, and for 3 years straight, she spoke in a programmed way. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Oh, got somebody who participated in 3 programs. Okay. Yeah. Meh.
There was one other place I wanted to pull up while you're over there. Choice Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. So they are on Yelp, actually.
Oh, what do those Yelp reviews look like? They're all trying to bring 3 to 5 more reviews with them.
So that's kind of, that's obviously hilarious.
That's crazy. It's on Yelp.
Yeah. This is from July 19th of 2023. I attended a few years ago, and I agree with all the negative reviews. Mid-level management scheme that leverages psychological weaknesses. You are probably reading this because someone you know or love is trying to get you to go. Recruitment is not optional when you join. You will be expected to spend days of your workshop promoting their businesses to others. Some good things come out of this, but are often overshadowed by the bad. The owner is all about the money. The coaches are all previous recruits that are often doing this for free. It's quite something. I would recommend that you keep your money and do some one-on-one therapy online if you think you need that. The positive reviews are most likely forced reviews during the workshop, as you can probably tell by the tone of the positive reviews. I would also like to describe this as very cult-like. Read the reviews inside the link at the bottom of the not recommended. There are 32 bad reviews, and you can see why the owner and management are desperately trying to keep these bad reviews outside of the public light based on the ones that don't meet Yelp guidelines. They included a screenshot of these quote-unquote these are 13 reviews that were removed for violating Yelp's terms of service. But clearly the owner is trying to scrub some reviews off of this. But the very first one on Yelp that you can pull up for yourself very succinctly says that they believe. The reason that I brought up LifeSpring is because that has already been researched and identified as kind of one of those culty things. This has a lot of roots to that already. Yeah. So I just thought it was like kind of the icky part of, the UFC and MMA. So another interesting person / thing that I want to bring up is Alex Pereira, and for all of his quote unquote shamanism and the things that he believes in, his coach's name is Plinio Cruz. Plinio Cruz owns gyms and is also involved in training other fighters, but his main fighter is Alex Pereira. Okay. So I just wanted to show you a couple of pictures. First, his gym logo.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that before.
So that's obviously the square and compass of the Masons. He has turned his gym logo into that, with the black belts being the square and compass. That's on his own personal Instagram. But as I started going back and kind of like going a little bit deeper, I realized almost every single time that he poses in front of something that he considers sacred or that he's trying to show off, or even whenever he's in the company of others, he is definitely doing the covering the left hand in almost every single photo. Here he is actually getting a Samoan ritual tattoo, even though he himself is not Samoan.
Appropriation.
I thought this was quite funny, standing in front of Christ the Redeemer in a fatality shirt.
Damn.
So obviously the man is, I've seen him. Let me show you one other picture that every single time he poses, usually with someone that he considers a friend, he's covering the one arm. He's standing inside of the great, so here he is in front of a Buddha statue covering the left hand once again. He actually went to the Grand Lodge of the Swedish Rite Masonic Lodge.
The Swedish.
I think it's what it's called. So there's no doubt that this gentleman obviously is a brother to the Masons, Freemasonry. In an interview, he basically was trying to describe Alex Pereira's relationship with God during this whole situation where Yuri Prohaska was calling him out for black magic and shamanism. And he was saying, it doesn't matter what you call God. You can call him Allah. You can call him Yeshua. You can call him the Son. He was like, it's all one thing, which is very Freemasonry, all gods lead to the one great architect or creator or whatever it is. So this whole thing about like Alex Pereira being a shaman or using black magic shamanism, while that may be the case, he definitely has someone that is a Freemason handler, I guess you could say. Yeah. So the other and the last one before we kind of wrap up on this situation is there's another gentleman who I thought was interesting. His name is Bear DeGrigio.
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything to you, Bear DeGrigio. Apparently he was huge in the paintball world.
Oh, okay.
And
paintball.
Yeah, so he basically was huge in the paintball world, and he made his way into social media and like entrepreneurship and marketing. And so he helps run the Jackson podcast, which is an MMA podcast with Rampage Jackson. It is in collaboration with the jewelry company Jackson, which is like JAXXON, which is kind of popular with like younger people. Okay. But he also has this new line of clothing, and it is called Santo Studios, like Saint Studios. Mm. And the very first launch of this Santo Studio, here, I'm just going to quickly show you. So this is what I was trying to get at right here. This is Alex Pereira's coach. I'm going to go for it a little bit because he's actually sitting in like the high chair at the Grand Lodge of Ireland, which is like the lodge of all lodges.
What an honor.
Checkered floor, obviously. So yeah, the gentleman is not hiding his affiliations at all, and is kind of guiding Alex Pereira's career. And so there's that whole like,
to be one, ask one.
That's right. That's right. The other guy that I was telling you about, his name is, what did I say? His name is Bear DeGrigio. Mm-hmm. So what's going on with him is, they're basically kind of saying that he's kind of helping, he helped, get some of these guys involved in like their monster deals. And obviously we all know like monsters of the devil, and you have to like do weird stuff with like different people to like be in that camp or whatever. But also he is kind of like handling like the Jackson people, and he, this Santo brand. Now you would think like they have like all these people that are, doing like modeling for them. You would think that they would have one single YouTube video that like shows off the brand or like the people that they have. They don't have anything except for YouTube shorts. But what I was noticing is if you take a look at the YouTube shorts, Luke Rockhold's an MMA fighter. Callum Walsh just fought this past Saturday. He's a boxer. Chito Vera, MMA fighter. There's just so many of these like combat sports fighters that are modeling for his like brand or whatever. And the very first launch is all like black and white stuff. And also that same like checkerboard pattern. And so he's he's kind of given that whole winky wink. If you take a look at his logo on the Santos studio, it is kind of a morphed version of a cross. Obviously they're playing with S on the name or whatever, but you could also say like that's like a snake on the cross or whatever. Some of these, here we go. The Santos Studio mat collection. Every single piece is black and white. And most of them, let's see if I can see the back. There's the checkerboard pattern. And also, they also say with love and light, which is like, if you know anything about Lucifer. Yeah. So I personally have no dog in the fight here. I'm not a Mason. I'm not any sort of Christian. I'm not any sort of anything. But I think it's crazy that like, if you take a look at, so one thing that we always kind of look at is if you go to the UFC and you take a look at this upcoming fight that we have coming up with Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree, like we always do, we pull it up here. But if you expand it out, some of these tattoos this gentleman has are just so contradictory. He's got a Philippians Bible verse right here on his like shoulder, but he also has a caricature of Aleister Crowley right here. And then he's
checks out. I had a guy who used to own a tattoo shop here in Fort Worth, and he was super into like subliminal messages, and I'm trying to think of the word for it.
Sigils?
Not even sigils, but what is the word for it? Like using, so like, here's one. It is, I remember because there was a Jack in the Box across from the tattoo shop, and it was their old logo. And he goes, hey, look, you see that logo? Like there's hidden messages in there that are like basically speaking to people subliminally, blah. He's like, the O and the X in the box
form the fish.
It forms a Jesus fish, which is also the Othala rune from the Elder Futhark. And basically it was like, he broke it down in all these different ways and all this stuff. And he's like, basically it boils down to sex and sex sells, and like how all these different companies are using these subliminal messages to like market to you. And so a lot of times when I see certain brands doing things, I'm like, okay, do they actually have any like weird religious ties, or are they just taking a note from their book to help market their thing?
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I think that the UFC is kind of like the wild, wild west when it comes to every single fighter being their own person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because you still have like the religious people that are able to say the exact same thing about like every single time they're on screen, Christ is their savior and all that stuff. So like, I think that it's not necessarily the brand. I think it's each individual fighter and then those management teams that kind of have more than one fighter. And then maybe there's kind of like you're saying like, oh, let's raise some eyebrows with some subliminals or some occultic imagery. So that way, like we can obviously plausible deniability. Like it's just a design. It's just colors. It's just, I'm just standing that way. I'm just covering one eye. But like at the end of the day, they're trying to like poke and prod the bear a little bit.
Everybody's doing that. Pop musicians are doing that. Look at Beyonce.
One of my favorite fighters, Sean O'Malley.
I don't know him.
Sugar Show, currently going through a really rough bout of CTE, saying he won rounds 1, 3, and 5 of the fight that we watched.
Not the one I watched.
Yeah. So one of his tattoos that I saw that was really broken down for me was this one right here. It's the serpent coming out of the water, and in particular, this being a cobra and these being lotus flowers. And so what it kind of breaks down back down to what we're saying as far as like, it doesn't really matter like where these kind of cults are like pulling from or whatever. It's all just like ripping off like ancient Egyptian sort of mythology. And so this is meant to represent like Isis and Osiris, and then you have the owl of Moloch right across the chest. So he's definitely not only that's just one of the more blatant examples. But like I said, if you take a look at several of the UFC fighters, they have interesting tattoos that you can kind of like break down. And so, I mean, obviously that's Crowley right there.
Yeah.
And then you've got some Buddhist stuff here. You've got the Cairo for the Christ and the Philippians 4:20. And so it's just like very interesting to see that all of these people are like mixing and dabbling. And like, then it just like, one last story that before we leave this whole like craziness of like what people believe in the UFC and the spiritual warfare. I don't know if you're familiar with Bryce Mitchell. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Okay. So Bryce Mitchell is kind of one of those like Colby Covington, Sean Strickland, kind of hillbilly, kind of white boy characters in the UFC. But he has a very, very interesting story that I've heard him tell several times that he's never really changed up. And so basically, he's a very outspoken Christian in the UFC and has been for the past, I would say, 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. But the reason he is so is because he had what he describes as a supernatural experience.
Okay.
So the story goes that Bryce Mitchell was raised in and around Christianity, but never really like made a decision for himself or like had a like realization that he was like a believer or anything. He just was like kind of living his life and not really thinking about it. When he was like, he says around 23, right before his fight with Edson Barbosa, he was dating a girl that he says was actually a practicing witch. Was definitely involved in like casting spells and like that whole thing. And so he just knew that the relationship was not going to work out. And so they had basically broken up, and he had some of her things, and the whole final meeting was basically just going to be exchanging items.
Yeah.
So she's on her way over. He packs all her shit up and says, I'll meet you at the gate. You don't have to come in. I'll just pass you your stuff over. And for some reason, she convinces him that she needs to come in. And so he invites a practicing witch into his compound after he has broken up with her. And almost immediately, she turns on him. And these tomato plants that he had worked really hard on, she just completely destroyed them. Like they were like all of his hard work, she destroyed them. Basically started getting really violent and started like kind of going crazy. And so he was like, what the hell are you doing? And she said, we're not doing anything. And he was like, the second that she said, we are not doing anything, he's like, the hair stood up on the back of my neck. And I started realizing that she was like looking at the wall and not me, and kind of like talking in a different like language and basically speaking gibberish and kind of going crazy or whatever. Sorry, I'm going to take a sip of water.
That sounds like some wild shit.
So he said like everything in him at that point basically kicked in, like training from what he's heard his grandma saying, and different things that he had learned about in the past. And he immediately called upon the name of Jesus. He was like, in the name of Jesus, anything evil needs to leave my house immediately. And she basically came up to him and cursed him one last time and basically said, you're going to have 3 kids. They're all going to die. You're never going to win another fight in the UFC. You're going to lose all of your sponsors, and your life's basically going to be hell. And then like tried to do this like 4-point like pressure touch on him. And like, he was like, he says in his like story is like, he immediately knew that Jesus had saved him because he had cast that demon out of his house and she was leaving or whatever. And that he felt like at that point he was already protected by Jesus. So that curse didn't affect him or whatever. And he was like, "You'll do nothing by the name of Jesus, get the hell out." And she left. And so ever since then, he has been a very devout Christian and has kind of like turned his life around. And he's married, he has a kid, and he's not lost every fight, not lost every sponsor or whatever. But just kind of one of those things where like you hear about stuff like that, especially around here, as far as like demonic possession or like just the fact of, you know, you have people that call upon the name of Jesus and the power in the name of Jesus and all that stuff along the same lines as all the other crazy stuff that's going along. Sorry, I keep on bourbon.
Gassy gal.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% believe all of it.
All of it's true.
I totally buy into that stuff.
Yeah. So fun stuff to talk about that is not actual fighting. Maybe we'll get into a series where we break down maybe some fighters' tattoos, or maybe we'll pick a card just based upon their affiliations to Masonry or not.
Yeah.
Oh, one more I did see. The jacket that Dracus du Plessis wore to fight Israel Adesanya was blue and gold, which is the same colors that the Masons use, but also on the collars and on the inside there was definitely pyramids and also Alex Pereira's shorts. The last fight that he fought, his handler obviously had a say in his shorts, because just taking a quick look, you'll see obviously he's got the 3 pyramids there, and the one above the crotch has kind of like an eye in the pyramid. So you've got kind
one
of
eye on the one eye.
Now we're kind of like breaking down tattoos and shorts and color schemes. And so
that wasn't an eye. That was just the Taco Bell bell. Liv Moss.
Right. So just fun, interesting things, because, you know, like we said, Yuri obviously seemed shook whenever he came into that fight. And like, even after Alex Pereira knocked him out, he kind of looked at him and he fell back down again, almost like a metaphysical death push almost. And so is there more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about? And I see, this is the thing that I'd love to ask Khalil Roundtree about. Obviously he's not going to answer any questions about Freemasonry, but I'd love to pick his brain about Choice Life Center and see if he really like thinks that like,
if you just join him,
he's probably going to recruit me.
Yeah, if you just go join him, he'll be on the podcast for 5 minutes.
That's it.
But he won't answer any questions about it. He just has to recruit you.
Man. So
let's do it. I'm in.
Let's do it. I've got, I'm not going to give any. I was going to say something probably out of pocket, so I'll stop.
Say something out of pocket.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So back to our regularly scheduled program. Since there were no fights on Saturday, there's obviously nothing really to talk about or discuss as far as that's concerned. But we do have a fight this coming Saturday. It is a UFC fight night. That was cool sound my shoe made. It is a non-pay-per-view event. So if you have ESPN or ESPN Plus, you can watch for free.
I think even if you have Hulu or Disney Plus, you can watch this.
Oh.
Because it's all like tied in.
Oh, I watch a bundle.
I watch Contender series on Hulu, and most stuff you can watch on Hulu, you can also watch on Disney Plus.
Well, there you go.
So
there's just no reason for you to not catch fights like these. So we were just talking about. It's funny. I was like, okay, next topic. And then the first thing I see is
the tattoo.
The tattoo.
I saw that too.
So I'm like, now I'm just going to be plagued by like the occult meaning behind everything in the UFC. Oh, Alex Pereira, remember when he saved the UFC?
Mm-hmm.
It was UFC 303.33. And then he got his bonus that night, which was $303,000. So another 33.
Threes rule everything around me.
Yeah. 369 Tesla, baby.
But also for real, my birthday is all threes.
Oh, damn.
3-9.
Whew. Lucky you.
What's 3 times? Oh, it's 9.
See, I have a weird birthday that I've been trying to break down numerically, but it's like 1223. So it's like 1 + 2 + 2 + 3, and then divide that down and like break it down. I don't even know. So
93. Love is the law.
You're casting spells on here. See, that's the other thing is we were in Unspell, and that's part of the reason that we started Unspell is because of my obsession with like the fact that like all of language is basically casting spells on people and trying to get them to like see things your way or understand you, or the fact that we're basically making guttural sounds and we understand each other and can contract commerce and like,
and you're listening to us make these guttural sounds and you're understanding them.
Yeah. So UFC Fight Night, Saturday, September 28th. It is an early one. It is going to happen at 2:00 Central Time because they're fighting in Paris, France. Isn't that crazy? The UFC is going all the way to Paris. So we always go down to the bottom of the card and start from there. We've got a lightweight bout between Bolajai Oki and Chris Duncan. They are both 5'10", and they're probably going to have to weigh. So lightweight is 175. So nobody's going to have to cut crazy weight. Similar in status. Now, I just want to zoom in on tattoos. So this gentleman here has a beautiful addiction tattoo with a heart, and it looks like angel wings. I don't see anything. I've got a mandala here. A mandala going into a very spooky looking cross. And then it looks like maybe koi and lotus over here. So nothing overtly crazy. Let's see his gentleman over here. We've got, looks like the Lion of Judah. So clearly this gentleman here is a Christian. Who you got? Bolajai Okai versus Chris Duncan. Belgium and Scotland. There's going to be a lot of foreigners because it's over there in Paris.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Bolajai because
is this MK Ultra programming though? The bleach blonde hair is usually a signal that they've been reprogrammed. So,
and that means he's going to win.
Okay. Bolajai Okai. Oki. Next fight, we've got a women's bantamweight belt between Nora. It looks like cornhole. Cornhole. Obviously, she's French, but it looks like cornhole. Nora Cornhole versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. We've got very similar records. Yeah. Jacqueline has 1 inch height advantage, bantamweight, so she's going to have to cut a little bit of weight to get down. Tattoos. We've got, that looks kind of like crystal girly tattoo, like charger crystals in the moon, dreamcatcher type
I've got 3 crystals in my asshole right now.
Oh God.
They're charging.
All right. So we've got these Polynesian like style leg tattoo with, it looks like a leopard or some sort. She looks like she just has traditional like Polynesian Samoan type tattoos. So nothing super occulty there.
I was wondering why Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was fighting.
I'm going to go with Jacqueline Cavalcanti because Nora Cannoli just sounds like cannoli. Cornhole McNoli. Cornholio makes his appearance for a second time. All right.
Where's the TP? Need it for my bunghole.
We've got a flyweight bout between Daniel Barres and Victor Altamirano. These gentlemen are very similar. Again, we've got 16-6 versus 12-4. They're both coming off a loss. They're both Hispanic. One's from Spain, one's from Mexico. They're both super short. They're both super skinny. We know this is probably going to go to a decision because we just saw several of them. Yeah. I'm going to go with my countryman because this gentleman right here from Spain has some sort of runes. And I don't not runes, but some sort of Yiddish maybe or
well, and then I like that he's got
Dom. It just says Dom above his PP. I mean, that's what that says, right? Or does it say Danny?
Yeah, I don't know.
It says Dom.
It says Dong.
Oh, and his name's Daniel. So he's got his own.
I never want to forget my name, so I get it in script.
Yeah, I got to go with my countryman, Victor Altamirano. You better be.
The tattoo across the chest, what? It's like ancient Sumerian or something? Like,
that's what I mean. Like, it's.
I've never seen.
It's not. Yeah. I don't get it.
We'll
Have to Google image reverse it or something.
Daniel, what's his name?
Daniel Barres. B-A-R-E-Z.
I'm gonna look that up while we go on that.
All right, the next one, we've got a women's bantamweight belt between Daria Zeleshenkova and Eileen Perez. Obviously, we've got Russia versus Argentina. Daria is 9-1. Eileen is 10-2. Very similar records. Both of them coming off a win. You got
nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay. Both of them coming off a win. However, Daria is 4 inches taller. So
that's quite a bit. What's her
big.
reach?
We don't have those measurements yet.
0 inches. She actually doesn't have arms.
She has no arms or no legs, just torso.
It's Lieutenant Dan with no arms.
Obviously, no tattoos on Daria. Eileen has what looks like a sugar skull on top of a rose, some butterflies. Maybe that's more Monarch MK Ultra programming. We'll never know.
Is her hair bleached?
She's got bleach streaks. I'm going to go with Daria Zeleshenkova. I don't know much about her, but
let's go.
She's taller and she's Russian.
And she's got arms. No, she doesn't have arms.
Yeah, she doesn't have.
All right. I haven't been able to find anything.
All right. You're just looking at hot dudes on the internet right now.
Looking at hot, scantily clad dudes.
Next up, we've got bantamweight between Taylor Lipolis and Vince Morales. Vince Morales looks like he is coming to us from either another promotion or maybe just making his debut in general. Taylor has much more experience. He's got 20 wins, 4 losses, whereas Vince has only got 11 wins and 7 losses. Taylor is also from France, so he'll be fighting in front of a hometown crowd, whereas Vince is going to have to fly across the Atlantic to fight. So I'm going to go Taylor on this one.
Also goes against our rules.
Yeah, we can't Vince. Oh, what happened there?
Oh, no?
Oh, maybe we just have this one. So it looks like another Owl of Moloch. Let's see what we got over here. Taylor. Oh, looks like he's got an angel. Guardian angel.
All right.
All right, we're going to go with the Lord on this one, Taylor. Next up, we've got a lightweight belt between Ludovic Klein and Roosevelt Roberts. Ludovic Klein is 22-4. Roosevelt Roberts is 12-5. Ludovic is from Slovakia.
That's a big height difference.
Huge height differential.
That's going to be like, what's his face? Little guy from Contender.
Yeah, Torrey Finney.
Yeah.
Ludovic Klein is only standing at 5'7", and his opponent is at 6'2", and neither of them are going to cut any weight. So this gentleman right over here also has actually only a half-inch reach advantage. So just the height. They both got long-ass arms. Again, though, you've got someone that's coming from Slovakia and then someone that's got to fly over from the United States. Oh, look at this line right here. That's a huge line right there.
Yeah.
So apparently we're saying, let's see, that means you have to put up $1,050 to win $100 on that guy. So that means that's how big he's supposed to win. If you put up $100 on him, you'd win $775. So I think let's go with Roosevelt Roberts and try to win some money on that underdog because he's taller.
That's what, 7 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all I'm seeing is a good knee right up the middle.
Just
5'7".
Yeah.
Hiya.
Come on, Roosevelt.
Yeah, let's cash on Roosevelt Roberts. He's the big underdog, so we might as well just go for it on that one. Light heavyweight bout between Umar Sy and Da Woon Jung. My man Umar is undefeated, and he's from France. Yeah. Oh, look at that reach. He's got a 5.5 arm reach advantage and a 4.5 or 4-inch leg reach as well. I don't see him losing his O to this gentleman here.
Whoa, Dawoon is 6'4".
They both are.
I know, but Dawoon is 6'4". Wow.
Do you think he got one of those surgeries to extend his shins?
He definitely didn't get him shot off in the big one. That's for sure.
I'm just not seeing Umar Sy losing this one.
Yeah, no.
All right. In the feature bout of the prelims, we've got Ion Kutulaba versus Ivan Erslan. Oh, my bad. Just quickly, Dawun Jong has no tattoos. Umar Sy has no tattoos. So they both are pure of heart. No black magic going. Although Umar's, nah, he's from France. So no real black magic going on there. Ion Kutuluba versus Ivan Erslan. I've heard the Kutulaba name, but I couldn't tell you if I've remember seeing him fight. Ivan Erslan does not have a picture, and he also doesn't have a record. Obviously, this is his debut. So we have no information on this gentleman. No reach, no leg reach. We just have his height, his weight. We hit no record, nothing.
Black magic.
But it's a pick'em.
Huh?
Unless we just have no way to like.
I'm going Moldova.
Yeah, let's go. Ion Kutuluba. All right, going to the main event. We've got a lightweight belt between Fariz Ziam and Matt Frivola. I've seen Matt Frivola fight several times. Fariz Ziam, not so much. But he does have a height advantage. He does have a reach advantage and a leg reach advantage. Matt Frivola is coming off a loss, so he might be motivated to get back in the win column. However, fighting in France, coming off a win, taller, longer.
Yeah, he's also had more fights.
Yep.
So,
Fariz Ziam. Oh, tattoos.
Maybe a little.
Foot tattoo. What do we got down here? Strong.
Looks like some numbers.
Yeah, 257 something. I don't know what that is.
Looks like you got some inner arm ones.
Mm.
Some writing and shit.
Mm. Be proud of your tattoos, Matt Frivola. Put them in places where people can see them. I'm just kidding. I don't care. I'm going to go with Fariz Ziam.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Then we've got Morgan Charrier and Gabriel Miranda. Morgan Charrier has this cool, like, XXX Tentacion, trippy red type red hair style going on here. Oh, look at how many losses he has.
Wow.
Double digits loss column is never good. That means you're a kind of a journeyman.
He's also had 30 fights.
Yeah. Is that some CTE? Probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Gabriel Miranda. This guy looks fit. Hold on. Check out the tattoos. I keep on. Oh, there's a pentagram. They've got nothing crazy.
Yeah.
What does this guy got? Some traditional Sailor Jerry type shit on his leg. And, oh, that looks like a samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Samurai. Okay, that's kind of noble. I'm still going Gabriel Miranda.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got a few more, and then we'll wrap up. Kevin Jousset versus Brian Battle. Kevin Jousset is 10-2. Brian Battle is 11-2. Very comparable in height and reach and leg reach. Looks like Brian Battle is going to be a slight favorite here. And Kevin Jousset is just going to be a slight underdog. I'm going to go Brian Battle. He looks cool. Got that MK Ultra bleach blonde hair. And I don't see anything super crazy tattoo-wise, but maybe some. Oh, that's cool.
Is that all of his fights he's won?
Probably.
What's his record? 11-1?
11-2.
There's 11.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's more than 11.
5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 2.
That's how many days sober. Sorry.
This guy I don't like his face.
I don't know. I kind of like his face.
I don't like
Frenchmen
his face.
fighting in France.
We might have to split up here.
Yeah,
It's just a weird looking tiny.
There's a lot of headroom and the face only takes up a small portion.
Yeah.
Of it. It's like Beavis.
Again, with the Beavis. I'm going Brian. You're going to go Kevin?
Brian Battle.
Okay, let's go Brian Battle. USA. featherweight bout between William Gomes and Jordanson Brito. Jordanson Brito is from Brazil. William Gomes is from France. Looks like, we've got a 6-footer
And a 5'8".
and a 5'8". Tattoos. So this is the thing, is I'm hearing that the Brazilians are the ones that are in, like, obviously Alex Pereira,
Yeah.
Glover Teixeira, Alex Planillo. So this guy might be,
He's a
a
dreamer.
little shamanic. He's a dreamer. You got a 13 over here.
Me too, though.
I've got so many of them just because they're cheap. William Gomes has not been tainted by ink, but he has a really kick-ass fucking mustache and goatee.
Also, a lot of head.
Yeah, that's almost like a
That's a
cone
5
head type
head.
situation.
Easily a 5 head.
Yeah, this guy's got a smaller head to hit. Hey, yo.
I'm going Joe Anderson Brito.
Okay, let's hit the Brazilian this one. All right, we got 2 more fights. All right, Nasruddin Imavov and Brendan Allen. This is going to be a crazy good fight. Nasruddin Imavov is obviously one of your Russians, really good at striking, but also obviously a great wrestler. Brendan Allen, no slouch himself, has had almost 31 fights in professionally, both above 6 feet, both at that 185. Let's take a look at Brendan Allen's tats. We've got James 1, 2, and 7. So clearly Christian there, mixed in with the tribalism.
Bro, what tribe are you from?
He's got a pee-pee tattoo, it looks like a snake that goes up that way.
That's just his snake.
Oh, okay. And then my friend Nasruddin Imavov, no tattoos.
He's pure of heart.
Yeah.
Pure of flesh.
And let's see here. So Brendan Allen is the underdog going into this fight. So Nasruddin Imavov is going to be your favorite. Both of them are ranked in their respective category. I personally think Nasruddin Imavov is going to win. But
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And then finally, the fight of the night, we have Renato Moicano and Benoit Saint-Denis. Renato Moicano from Brazil, 19-5-1. Benoit Saint-Denis from France, obviously, 13-2-0, 1 no contest. Both 5'11". Benoit Saint-Denis has a 1-inch reach advantage, whereas Renato Moicano has 2.5 inches leg reach advantage. We spoke cursorily. It looks like we've got a
he's
Knight
really,
of the Templar cross. I think that's what that is.
He's just super into independent skateboards. That's all that is.
Yeah.
That's the independent logo.
No.
He's just a skater. It's cool.
It's cool, bro. It's not the Knights of the Templar.
What?
He has a...
What's going on around it? Does it say something?
Yes, it does. It is I think that is the...
Knights Templar?
Yeah, the Knights Templar saying like...
I've seen Indiana Jones in the
Yeah,
last
I think
Crusade.
it is the... Whatever the Knights Templar saying is like, you know, like they have Veni Vidi Vici and like all those like weird sayings or whatever. I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah.
He also has a huge... let me see if I can pull it up over here. Benoit Saint. Obviously, he's a saint. Denis tattoo.
I'm not. This sign you will conquer.
Yeah.
This sign, is that what's on his chest?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Sigillum militive.
This is Benoit Saint Denis' back piece. This is the Joan of Arc. So obviously huge to people from France, huge figure. She is sainted on his back, obviously. So
That looks nothing like Mila Jovovich.
and then let's see one last one. It looks like he's got some sort of samurai or temple on the inner arm, unless I'm mistaken. Renato Moicano is one of those Brazilians, so you never know. with those guys.
Those wily pesky
Oh, actually, you know what?
Brazilians.
I've actually heard Renato Moicano speak on his religion, and he is actually a born again Christian. This is the fight of born again Christians right here.
Okay.
They both are. I've heard him speak on a podcast where he was talking about that.
So no matter who wins, God wins.
The Lord wins in this one.
All right.
Renato Moicano started a podcast with Gilbert Burns not that long ago, got himself in hot water for calling Raul Rosas Jr. an ugly motherfucker. So I think he's hilarious. He's very quick-witted. I'm very excited for the lead up to this fight to see weigh-ins and press conferences and that sort of thing. I don't think that Benoit Saint Denis is going to play the game of trash talking. He's more of like the very stoicism, not showing an emotion. So I personally think that Benoit Saint Denis is going to win this fight.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go with
Renato. Yeah, I think for some reason, something's telling me that Benoit Saint Denis is just going to have a really good fight this fight. And I don't know if it's the fact that Renato Moicano is maybe distracted because he just kicked off the podcast and has been doing media rounds for that, or maybe that'll give him some sort of leg up on the competition. But something in me is saying go with Benoit Saint Denis in this fight.
All right.
He is the favorite, so I don't know.
I'm a broke boy at heart.
Yeah.
I'm betting on Renato.
Yeah. Well,
he's got the power of God and anime on his side.
Yeah. So, again, if you're interested in watching that fight, it's on Saturday. We'll talk about it next week. We'll see which person's God came out on top.
Choose your God.
That'd be a cool Street Fighter game, like all the gods, and then they could have like different powers and stuff. That'd be pretty tight.
Yeah.
We should develop that.
Let's do it.
Breakfast of Champions cereal mix and God of War / Street Fighter.
Love it.
Deity.
Me and Heather have been watching some Street Beef clips lately.
Yeah.
So much fun. We should go on Street Beefs.
Pretend we don't know each other.
Or that we're beefing.
Yeah, manufacture a beef on the podcast and we can only settle it through Street Beefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, there's a good, I would say, couple of days you could waste just going down that Street Beefs rabbit hole. With
I mostly just watch the shorts because I don't have the time to just like get invested in all of it. So I just watch the shorts and I fucking love that shit. It's so it scratches that like early 2000s like Juggalo backyard wrestling itch, but with like actual fighting. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that shit lately.
We should see if we could attend
go to the scrapyard.
Yeah, go to the scrapyard and rub elbows with Scarface.
Let's build our own scrapyard in the alley behind my house.
All right, friends. Tonight was Contender Series. Catch up with us. We'll come back to you next week and kind of give a wrap up on that. We're getting really close to week 10, and I want to make sure you're caught up by then so we could get back to that rematch and tie that series up with the bow. We've been going for an hour 40. I think we're good to go. I think we've done our jobs here this evening. We've talked about some fun things, some silly things, some cereal and some occultism and all that good stuff. So Siri just went off whenever I said something just now. So on both my devices. All right.
The UFC pyramid scheme is listening to us now.
I know.
The Freemasons are coming. The Life Center is coming. Coming in the gym. Coming at home.
We're coming everywhere. Sorry, quickly before we wrap up, I've been rewatching 30 Rock. Have you seen 30 Rock?
An episode here or there. I'm not a TV guy.
I've been rewatching it because it's just one of my favorites. But there's this episode where, obviously the premise, but Tracy Jordan Morgan, he basically is playing like an amalgamation of himself and like a couple of other people, but just an exaggerated version. And so there is this episode where they were trying to get him to wear a dress or to play gay. And obviously that's like a big talking point of like, emasculation and like ritualism and that sort of thing. And so I forget who it was. I was like, kind of like they're called the Black Crusaders. They're after him because they don't want him to do that stuff anymore. And Dr. Cosby's after him and all this stuff. And so he has to like go to like rural Virginia to hide away from the Black Crusaders. Good times.
I knew a dude who was in a gay biker gang, all black biker gang called the Black Knights.
No way. That's pretty awesome.
He, a girl I dated in another lifetime, it was her stepdad.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Married to her.
You almost
real bad.
You almost could have been in a family gang there.
I don't think I could have gotten into that one.
They
also had a ranch they'd go down to called the Circle J Ranch. They ride their motorcycles down there.
All right, now it's time to wrap.
There's a bottle of lube in every room. It was like going to P. Diddy's house.
Yeah, that's a story that's a violent story for another time. Talk about ruining your breakfast, getting arrested, and all of your 1,000 dildos and bottles of lubes were found, and everybody in the world knows now. So
we all already knew.
Yeah, he killed Biggie and Tupac and all them. So
he drowned them in lube and threw dildos at them.
All right, friends, if you want to talk to us about your secret society, give us a phone call at 682-294-0101. That's also one of my favorite Title Fight songs.
Me too.
So yeah, give us a call. We have an email address. It's breakfastofchampspod@gmail.com. And we're on social medias. And so catch us everywhere you catch podcasts, and tell a friend. We don't want to be a cult, but try to bring 3 or 5 friends with you on this journey, and then give us several $1,000s, and
several $1,000.
We can level you up in this game. So
we've got different tier packages depending on how many people you can bring to the podcast.
Exactly.
The Patreon will be launching soon to see where you stand with us. We worship at the altar of Muncho Man
and Baja Blaster.
All right, Blaster, we're still waiting to hear from you.
I know, right?
He did comment on the live the other day on the jab.
There's a challenge that was issued that I need to read off.
Oh, what's the challenge? And is it from Gene?
It's not from Gene. It's from Kevin.
Oh, Kevin sent me a review earlier of Return of the Jedi by Glenn Danzig. It's really short and sweet, but so me and Kevin went and saw Danzig.
Oh yeah.
Kevin's a huge Misfits and Danzig fan, but Danzig's review of Return of the Jedi. If you like The Wizard of Oz, you'll love the Star Wars saga. Princess Leia is Dorothy, R2 is Toto, Luke, Han, and Chewie are the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion. I hate Star Wars. Give me Basket Case any day.
Perfect. Yes, I'm quoting here. Quote, yes, this is third co-host Kevin O'Malley responding to something. I heard in the recent episode regarding Panther City Palette, my good friend Joe and his judo throw that he mentioned, and I would like to officially like to call him out live on the air to finally come join me at your practice, which he has not done and continues to duck me. So Joe can Joe, consider your challenge issued officially.
Oh shit, street beefs.
So this is a voicemail I'm reading. Obviously, we'll stick that at the beginning of this episode so that way it could be immortalized and officially the gauntlet has been thrown down. So Kevin is challenging Panther City Palette to, I guess, come to practice. Jiu-jitsu.
So Kevin's calling you out.
Official call out.
I also haven't heard anything from Gene. I know he was at Burning Man.
I did see that.
I'm guessing he hasn't seen the live because he would know about the tank top.
Yeah.
So, all right, Gene, wherever you are, maybe you're dead after Burning Man. You got too many STDs and too many designer drugs and got hit by a Tesla truck. I don't know.
He's still cleaning up the mess that everybody left. He's helping
the
clean up. Yeah.
Janitor of Burning Man. He is the Burning Man.
They're paying him $20 a day to just clean up used condoms. All right, friends, have a good week. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have a good one. Bye.
Bye.